Power on, Tom. How's that? Is that a little hot? So I just turned it. So it's been a while sharing, but I feel like it's almost biblical. Paul said, I came to you to know nothing else but Jesus and Him crucified. Right? So I feel like, man, we're hitting right. Saul is like, give me a basketball and I could probably hit it with a bat. You know, don't give me a baseball, but man, Jesus died and resurrected. That's like basketball. I think I can hit that, right? And that's what we get to kind of do today is we're going to look at the Easter message. And so often, I think, is the Easter message just an academic piece of information? Is it just a historical account of events? Like watching it from a movie, look what Jesus did. Or is it beyond information and it's to have a life of transformation? So here's the test. Is it just information or is it life transformation? And the answer is? Life transformation. I mean, what does transformation look like? Is it, we go from a car to a robot, which makes your eye tired, the Transformers. I watched the first one, I never watched another. Hey, too much, right? Seeing all that transformation, but God is transforming us. Not from metal. We're going mental, yes? He's actually transforming our mind. Every way we see life, every word that comes out, how we interact with people, right? Transform lives. He doesn't just want to let's just do a few upgrades. He wants to do a whole overhaul on how we think, how we speak, how we go through circumstances, how we see life, and ultimately, how we live it, right? So the first step, I'm saying, to life transformation, and I actually made a little handout. If I could have a lovely assistant here. Carol, you want him? So, hey, we're getting close to Easter. Let's be official. I probably should have one. Let's see. I'll refer to one. And I have one. It's just kind of an outline. That if we're going to have transformation, we've got to know the magnitude of why Jesus went to the cross. Like I said, Paul said, I only came to you to know Jesus and Him crucified. Let's just keep it simple. Jesus. And if we're going to have a transformed life, we've got to know that it's only the cross that makes it possible to restore life back to the original design. When Jesus says, it is finished, we sang it. He said, everything that needed to happen has happened to restore life back to the original design. And I want to illustrate this desire for the original design. I purchased in 2007 from a good friend of mine who's here tonight, in 2007, a Kia Rondo. And the reason I chose it because it had the 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Because I don't want the car to break down, right? Or when it does, let's get it fixed. So, the coolest thing for me was at about 48,000 miles, the front end just started clunking and clanking, and I'm like, ooh. I didn't choose the 3-year 36,000. I got that 10-year 100,000. And I drove it down to Kia and they fixed it for free. Back to the original design. And it's still clunking at 110,000, right? No, it's not. Hey, and so that was the original design. The car's working again. Who gets frustrated by car problems? Who gets just frustrated? Life. Can I tell you, who thinks we're living in the original design? Right? I always think, how people mock, is it, how you doing? Just another day in paradise. I don't say that anymore. It's another day before paradise. Right? This is not paradise, folks. So here's how you hear this, life is not the original design. You're driving bus and you hear in the back, I can't believe that blankety blank, right? I mean, he's been freeloading, living on her couch, and he dirties the dishes and doesn't help out, right? You ever heard that one? Nope. Right? Or you go, man, he thinks he's all that, and he's breaking his promises, right? And we hear how life is not the original design. And it's really this simple. If you boiled all life down to, you hear this. Gosh, I wish this relationship, it was fair, it was just, they treated me right, right? Almost like God said, love one another. It's how do we do relationally? You can be a pagan for whatever, Buddha, Muhammad, or karma, or pagan, right? I mean, you can be 100% not give a rip about God, but you can be relationally excellent. I know some people who don't have a walk with God, but they're they're fair, they're nice, right? Better than the church people. No, anyways, sometimes, right? And then it's like being a bum playing video games versus, hey, let's help out with the chores. You've got free room and board to help out. A work ethic, right? You don't have to know the Lord to have a work ethic. God would call that subduing the earth, right? Was that not the original design back in the garden? Have a relationship, walk with God in the cool of the day, and subdue the earth. Sometimes we think that the curses work. Can I just suggest something? The curse is not work. The curse is the sweat of the brow. God designed us for work, to co-labor. It's by the sweat of the brow, the long hours, the cheap pay, the government. It's his fault, her fault, if onlys, right? And it's stressful in an economic environment, right? So the curse is not work, it's the sweat of the brow.
Good word.
Mm-hmm. That's something. You like that, huh? That's hot off the press, Holy Spirit. See, so what happened in the garden, the original design was, because our identity wasn't founded in trust in God and having a relationship with Him and working with Him, free will turned us pear-shaped, right? And we used our free will for our own agenda. Pride and self-sufficiency caused us to say, I want to be like God. I'll call the shots. And I'll choose to live life by trial and error instead of trust in God's goodness. And the enemy motivated us with what? Pleasure, possession, power. It's good for food. It's pleasing to the eye. Possession. It's you'll be like God, knowing good and evil. Power. And the world offers intimacy and identity and influence apart from God through those things. But they're inferior and temporal substitutes that get us off the original design. So give me a problem in the world. Just say one out. Give me a problem. What's a problem?
Hunger.
What? Hunger. So, do you realize there is enough money in all the world to take care of hunger? But greed, possessions, you could share. There could be ways that you could use your possessions. God's not against pleasure, possessions, power. He's saying use it for my glory, not our own glory. Because without God defining us, we have to find our identity and our intimacy and our purpose in relationships and things around us, not God, right? So what's another problem? Taxes. So remember a 3 weeks ago, we showed the sheet about the cost of sin? To prosecute one murder costs over $9 million because of prisons, because of lawyers, because of you got to feed this person the rest of you guys. Sin costs money, then you have taxes. Because we don't steward our free will well. Okay, give me another problem. Homelessness. I mean, what is that?
Sloth.
Power, possession. What? Sloth? Sometimes it's their personal choice. We pursue addictions and pleasure. But there's also ways you could help people out of the bad situation. You guys, pride, I'll call the shots. You don't tell me what to do. Everything boils down to pride, possessions, power, and pleasure. Find me a problem that doesn't fit there. And guess what? It was in the Easter story. What happened to Judas? 30 pieces of silver. Oh, can I say this? Is that when we bite the fruit of intimacy and identity apart from Christ, what's the fruit of that? Shame, fear of man, fear of God, right? We run into the garden. Insecurity. It's not being naked, it's that now they've fallen short and they were naked before they sinned and there was no shame. It's just now they know they're incomplete. I'm not in right relationship with God. I need to start hiding. I can't share because somebody might laugh at me. Fear of man, right? Anybody have fear of man? Peter? What?
Just agree.
Yeah, anybody have fear of man? We all do. Peter had fear of man, right? You'll deny me 3 times. Even if everyone else deserts you, I'll never desert you, Jesus replied. I tell you the truth, Peter, this very night before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times that you even know me. No, Peter insisted, even if I have to die with you, I'll never deny you. And all the other disciples, yeah, man, I'm there, thick and thin. I'll be there with you. You ever had somebody break a commitment? I'm covenant, man. You count on me. Meanwhile, Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard, and a servant girl came over and said to him, you were one of those with Jesus, the Galilean. But Peter denied it in front of everyone. I don't know what you're talking about, he said. A little later, some of the other bystanders came over to Peter and said, you must be the one. We can tell by your Galilean accent, man. Peter, I don't know the Galilean accent, but that was my one lame attempt. Peter swore a curse on me if I'm lying. I don't know the man. And immediately the rooster crowed. So there's fear of man, Judas, possessions. How about James and John? Give me the right hand man spot. I need some power and position. And then Jesus redefined position and power. But be a servant. Die. All this to say that we must see that Christ's work on the cross enables each of us to have the revelation the world's alternatives are inferior substitutes. We have to get a revelation that we can trust in God's goodness and His ways. Anybody need a revelation? Because we believe sugar-coated poison. It starts off fun, but it leaves us bitter, fearful, insecure, shame-filled. Yeah? So it isn't, oh, I gotta do good. It's, I'm made to do good. And so the second reason for the cross is that God, listen to this, God had to take the cure out of man's hands and put it in His Son's hands. Literally. God had to take the cure for sin out of man's hand and into His Son's hand. The whole sacrificial system of the Old Testament was designed for man to blot his self-effort. Thinking as long as I do the works, man, I'll kill a few doves and make a sacrifice. And he continues to live in pride of self-effort. I made the self-sacrifice. Now I can do my own thing.